1 is percent of a number. Okay, so just have your calculator, and you don't need to have anything else right now, or well, you're going to write down something later, but not right now. Don't write anything down yet, okay? So first of all, you have to understand what percent means, okay? Percent means per 100. Cent means 100. Think about it. There are 100 years in a century. There are 100 cents in a dollar, okay? A centennial is a 100-year celebration. Okay, so cent, a centipede is said to have 100 legs, right? So this is that. That's what it means. Per cent means per 100. Okay. So for example, again, don't write this down, right? If I had 50%, that's the same as 50 per 100. All right. Now put that in your calculator, please. 50 divided by 100. Right. You don't have to, right? And you get this, right? 0.5, right? Or 0.50. Yeah. Okay. What if you had something like this? 65%, right? That's the same thing as 65 over 100. If you put that in your calculator, you get 0.65, yeah? Okay. What if I had something like 7? Well, again, that's 7 divided by 100. You do not get 0.7. Instead, put in your calculator, what do you get? You get 0.07, yeah? Okay. 0.07. Now that's different than 70%, right? 70%, you would get 70 divided by 100, which is equal to 0.7 or 0.70. Yeah? Now, some of you guys are thinking, okay, Mr. Leon, there's got to be a faster way. Like, do I have to divide by 100 every time? The answer is no. Okay? Can everyone see how these numbers are very related to these numbers? Like, the decimals are very related to the percentages, right? What's happening, okay? What's happening, right, is we're essentially moving a decimal. And the question is, how many spaces do we move that decimal in which direction, okay? So that's what we have to look at. So let's think about it, right? I went from 50 to 0.50. I went from 65 to 0.65. I went from 7 to 0.07, right? Now the question is, one question is, do these have, there's a decimal, they become a decimal somehow. But it's actually really simple to change a number into a decimal or a percentage, right? And the key is this. Let me take a number that has a decimal already. I know that this is going to be 0.832. I know that 5.9%, 0.059. So how do I know that, right? Just look at the decimal. This decimal is going to move 2 spots to the left, right? You see that? This one, it moved 2 spots, 1, 2, so you need an extra 0 there to create a new spot. And there you go. Does that make sense? Right? So what?
Because you round it to 100?
It's because I'm dividing by 100, right? I'm doing percent per 100. So when you think about it, when you divide by 100, it essentially makes something smaller by 2 decimal places. So let's do this one, right? Let's say 115.3%. Without doing that in your calculator, what does that become as a decimal? Without using your calculator, should be pretty easy, right? You should get 1.153. Yeah. Do it in your calculator if you're worried that I'm not telling the right thing. Go ahead, do 115.3 divided by 100. That's what you get, yeah? Right? Now, you might be thinking, what about these other ones? There's no decimal, right? Well, think about it. Remember, there's always a decimal. Every number actually has a decimal. The ones that don't just have a secret decimal at the end. They have a 0.0, right? So, for example, 50 is actually 50.0. Right? Isn't that the same as 50? I move the decimal 2 places, 1, 2, and I end up with 0.5. Yeah? If I had, remember we had 7% was 7.0? Okay, move the decimal 2 places. You just do it in your head, and you end up with 0.07, right? Okay. So to change a percentage to a decimal, very, very important skill. You need to move your decimal place 2 places to the left. I think left might be that way for you guys. Okay. 2 places to the left. All right. You can change any percentage to a decimal and go back the other way. You can do from a decimal to a percent by going to the right. All right. So even if you have a problem that looks like this, okay, 0.6%. Okay, I want you to just think in your head what that's going to be as a decimal. I know it already is a decimal, but that's a percentage right now. You have to change percentage to a decimal. Think about it. Move your decimal. Okay, so here's my choices. Is it here's number. Okay, hold up with your fingers. Which one do you think it is? 1, 2, or 3? Okay. Remember, move that decimal 2 places. Here we go. Check it out. 1, 2. 0.006. Yeah? Right? So to change and again, if I put a number there, like if I put, for example, if I made that 11.6, right? Would that be 1.16? Would that be 0.116 or 0.0116? Which one would it be? 1, 2, or 3? Oh, sorry, 2 and 3 are the same. Yeah, on the last one. Sorry about that. Which one would this one be? Number, would it be 1, 2, or 3? Remember, move the decimal 2 places, guys. Move the decimal 2 places. Here we go. 1, 2, 0.116. Right? Okay. So that's what I want you guys to understand is all you have to do is move the decimal 2 places, and then you get your number. And if you're confused about what I'm talking about, moving decimals, you can just divide whatever number it is by 100. Okay. Okay. So let's try some problems here today. Okay. So now we can kind of really start our notes. All right. So first thing over here, letter A, but this is going to be percent to decimal. Go ahead and write this down, please. Okay, so letter A says this. 40% of 70. The question is, what is 40% of 70, right? Now remember, if something's 100%, like 100% of 70 is 70, right? 100% is the whole thing. So 40% is less. I should get a smaller number here, okay? 40%. So this is what I'm going to do. First thing is I'm going to find the decimal. What do I mean by that? Where is the decimal on 40? Is it before the 4, between the 4 and the 0, or after the 0?
Before.
Okay. Now I haven't moved it yet. So right now, just on this number, where is the decimal? I don't see a decimal, right? Is it Is this the same thing as 0.4%? Is this 4.0%? Or is that 40.0%? Okay. So where is the decimal? Okay. Sometimes people have a hard time finding a decimal when there is no decimal, right? We know this is the only one that's still a number, right? Isn't that 40.0%? Same thing? Okay. So this is 40.0%. This is really what the problem is saying, 40.0% of 70. Okay. So now, after that, you move the decimal. .40 becomes 0.4. We move the decimal 2 places, right? We say, okay, 1, 2. And this becomes 0.4. And the word of means multiplication. So then we multiply. Go ahead and multiply that 0.40 times 70, and you get 28. So 40% of 70 is 28. So if you had 70 pieces of candy and you ate 40% of it, you ate 28 pieces. That's what that means. Right? You're like, oh, the next week I'll eat 100%, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Once you guys get the hang of it, it's pretty simple. What is 35.2% of 18? All right. So again, here we go. We're going to find the decimals right there. We're going to move it twice. 1, 2. So that becomes 0.352 times 18. Put that in our calculator. And you get 6.3. Yeah, put that in your calculator. You should get 6.3. Good? All right. Once you get the hang of it, it goes really fast. For your homework tonight, when I say show work, basically I just want this step. I just want you to show me that you can change it to a decimal. I know some of you guys are doing it in your head, and that's good, but for today's homework, so after today, you won't necessarily have to write it down every time, but today's homework, I want you to actually write that down just so you really get in the habit of knowing where the decimal is. Okay? Let's do another one. How about this one? 6% of 25. Why don't you put in the chat what you got there? Put in the chat. All right, good. I'm seeing some good answers here. Okay. Anyone else? Put in the chat what you got. It's okay. Checking. Okay. Okay, so some people are getting 15 or some people are getting 1.5. So here it is. Check it out. If you got, remember, we have to remember where the decimal is. So this is actually not 6. This is 6.0%. Right? Now remember, we got to move the decimal 2 places. 2 places, which means it's not 0.6, but 0.06. Yeah? Right? Think of it this way, right? Some of you, if you made 6% 0.6, what would 60% be? You don't have to write this down, but isn't 60% is 0.6? Yeah? So 6% should not also be 0.6. That makes sense? Like that means you only move the decimal 1 time. This is where I know single digits are kind of tricky actually. Okay, we actually like double digits. We actually like the decimal to already be there. So you should get 0.06 times 25, which is 1.5, not 15. So if you got 15, you were close. You just didn't move the decimal 2 places. You only moved it once, right? And that's why it's really important that you find the decimal first. I like this rewrite step, and then you move it. Huh? Okay, what about percentages that are greater than 100? Those actually aren't too bad either. Go ahead and write this down. So for example, what is 135% of 40? All right. Well, if it's greater than 100%, that means my number is actually bigger, right? Like some of you guys got 12 out of 10 on the quiz. You got more than 100%. Well, again, same process. Find the decimal. The decimal is not after the 1. It's not after the 3. It's after the 5. This is the same thing as 135.0, right? So when I move it, I got to move it 2 spaces to the left. 1, 2. So this becomes 1.35 times 40. Put that in your calculator. And you should get 54. That's not so hard. Once you get the hang of it, it's actually pretty easy here. Let's try another one here. I know we're doing a lot of process. All right. 108% of 60. And some of you guys are probably getting pretty fast at this. That's my hope. All right. So remember, this is 108.0. I'm going to move my decimal 2 places here, which is 1.08. 1.08 times 60 is
64.8.
64.8. Got it. All right, pretty easy, yeah? Okay. Find the decimal, move it twice, multiply. That's it. Okay, so on the homework today, there's like a lot of problems, but they're super fast. Super, super fast. Okay, one more type of problem. These ones are a little bit challenging. We have just a few minutes here. All right. Okay, last ones are this, fraction percent. So what if you have something like this? 4/7% of 20. Okay. First of all, if you're doing a fraction of a percent, it's really small, right? That means it's less than 1%. 1% is already really small. Like if you on your phone battery, you only have 1%, you don't have a lot. Okay. So 4/7% is really small. So this is what we're gonna do. First step, divide and change the fraction to a decimal. Okay, change your fraction to a decimal. So watch. Okay, so in your calculator, do 4 divided by 7. And you can just round it to the nearest 100, so 2 decimal places. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is 4/7% is equal to 0.57%. Yeah, did you guys get that? 0.57? All I do is 4 divided by 7 in my calculator. If you don't believe me, do it yourself. 4 divided by 7. Okay, so now, okay, thank you. So now I just do it like a regular problem. So now it's 0.57% of 20. I got to move my decimal 2 places, right? Now it's just going back to the other problem. So all you had to do, the first step was to change the fraction into a decimal, and then you do it like normal. So now I'm going to move my decimal. Oops. Okay. 1, 2. So I get 0.0057. And then I multiply. So I get 0.114. Yep. So it's one extra step. Let's do one more.
Mr. Leon, when you get 0057 multiplied by 20, when you put in your calculator, do you have to put like decimal and then 0057 and times 20?
Yes. Yes. You have to do it exactly the way that I kind of did it, where you have to put, this is what you need to put in your calculator. 0.0057. If you put something different, you're going to get the wrong answer. Okay, check it out. What is 2 5/8% of 700? All right, so again, you don't need to change the whole number. Just do the fraction part, okay? So do 5 divided by 8. So 2 and 5 is 8 becomes 2.625. Does everyone see how I got that? Just do 5 divided by 8, and you get 0.625, but then don't forget about the 2 there. Yeah, everyone see that? Okay, now go ahead, finish it. Move the decimal twice and multiply. And you should get 18.375. Right. So I know that last part was a little bit confusing, but that's okay. Don't worry too much about that on the homework. I can go over it a little bit more tomorrow. For the most part, though, it's just move the decimal and multiply. That's all you really need to do for the homework for the most part.